My mom vanished 2 days before Christmas, leaving me to raise my 5 siblings. Now, after 9 weeks and 3 phone calls, I'm fighting for custody and learning how to be a parent overnight. Editor's note: before we get into the story, I just wanted to mention that this might be the longest story I've ever posted on here, so to help keep track, I'm providing dates for most updates from OP. Happy Holidays! Posted by you/Hanage004. Original post, February 21, 2024. My mom went out 2 days before Christmas, then texted me 12 hours later saying she would be gone for a week and that I should take care of the kids. She hasn't come back since, so it's been almost 9 weeks. I've heard from her 3 times total, and she says she isn't coming back anytime soon. She just keeps sending money. My siblings are 16, 13, 12, 9, and 7. I'm 19. I'm surviving, looking after the kids by myself. Honestly, not much has changed because I did most of it when my mom was here anyway. We live with our nan, but she doesn't really help with them either. My older siblings moved out long ago. I guess my question is my mom being gone a serious issue legally or with social services? I don't want to risk the kids going into care. Been there, done that when I was younger, so I haven't told anyone she's gone. I'm scared of what will happen if people find out, so I don't even want to ask the question in real life. Update 1, February 29th. I spoke to my mom on the phone and told her I want her to give me custody of the kids since she is refusing to come back or say when she will be back, and I'm done with her nonsense. We argued for about an hour, but in the end, she agreed after I told her I was going to call the police on her. Before speaking to her, I consulted a lawyer, and I should be able to get legal guardianship through a parenting order, which will go through court. My 22-year-old brother said he will move home and help me on the condition that my mom doesn't move back, as he refuses to be around her. His income and involvement will help a lot, and he seems serious about wanting to take part in parenting and looking after the kids, especially our little brother, who really needs a male role model. If we can't get custody, then my nan should be able to. Either way, my mom is very unlikely to keep custody unless she suddenly decides to care, and I would bet my life that will never happen. Getting legal custody is the outcome I want, so I'm relieved it seems like a real possibility. Now, I'm trying to completely overhaul everything with the kids because I think they need a lot more structure, discipline, rules, and routine than they've had until now. I've realized I don't really know much about good parenting, so I have a lot to learn. Maybe I'll get some books. Until now, our house has been more like a house share, with everyone doing what they want and running around wild rather than anyone really guiding the kids. I grew up even wilder, and I don't think it's a good way to be raised. So, I'm starting a bath and bedtime routine for the youngest 2, and a curfew for the teenagers. Right now, the 12-year-old goes off on his skateboard and just shows up at around 10 p.m. on school nights. I've also been giving them much better food than they usually have, and it's been rough getting them to eat healthily, but we've made so much progress already. Any advice on instilling rules would be welcome, as I don't think it will be easy, and I've never had any kind of actual parent role model in my life. Update 2, March 14th. Thanks to the advice here, we've realized that getting kinship care is a better choice for us financially than legal guardianship. This wasn't mentioned by the lawyer or social services, so I'm incredibly grateful to everyone here. With kinship care, we'll have much less financial stress and access to far more services for the kids. Things already feel much less overwhelming. My brother has come home to help and is working remotely for his same job, which is ideal. He's been amazing, making things happen so quickly and packing up his life to move back. Right now, he's still back and forth a bit, but he should be here full-time soon, aside from a few days a month when he has to be in person for work. Our oldest sister has said she'll send money every month to help, but she doesn't want to be otherwise involved. I understand why, and I'm very grateful she's helping. Honestly, it hurts a bit that she refuses to talk about the kids or anything related, but I know she's doing what she can handle right now. Our other sister is working FIFO, fly in fly out, and has suggested coming back on her weeks off to help, but I'm not sure if that will actually work. My brother doesn't get along with her very well and says living with her again might not be realistic. The kids are still adjusting to the new rules, and we've had some challenges. The 16-year-old hates me, so my brother has taken over with her because I'm exhausted from all the fighting. The younger kids are doing better, but it's still difficult. The 7-year-old not sleeping is the hardest issue right now because then I can't sleep, and I'm completely exhausted. She has meltdowns when she's tired, and since she's always tired, she's always having meltdowns. I don't know what to do. I've tried so many things to help her sleep, but nothing works well. She says she doesn't know why she can't, or won't, sleep, so I'm at a loss. My brother tried to help her to bed, but she just cried and screamed for me. The 12-year-old is actually listening to my brother, which is a huge relief because he never listens to me. The 13-year-old and 9-year-old are easier and not stressing me out as much. Right now, we're in a divide and conquer mode. My brother takes care of 2 kids, and I handle the other 3. I've realized I'm very protective of the younger ones and find it hard to let my brother discipline them, so it's less stressful for us both if I manage them myself. It's still early days, but I'm hoping consistency will help resolve many of the smaller issues over time. Long term, we want to rent somewhere bigger because our Nan's house is incredibly cramped, which makes everything harder. Sorry this is so long and messy. I just wanted to update everyone who's asked and thank you all again for the amazing advice and support. Update 3, April 4th. Back with another update for those who asked. I can't believe it's been over 3 months now. We applied for kinship care, and we've had the provisional approval, the home inspection, and some interviews. There are still a few things ongoing, but we're almost there. We've received our first payment, which has been such a relief. It's made me feel much more optimistic because we can now actually do more than just survive. The caseworker basically said they don't want to have to find placements for this many kids, so us keeping them is their much preferred option, which is really reassuring. My mom hasn't contacted me in a while. We thought she might show up for Easter, as holidays are usually her time to cry about how much she misses our dad and ruin everyone's day. Thankfully, she didn't come. Our Nan is still staying at our aunt's house because she apparently can't stand to be around us. She thinks me trying to feed the kids healthy food and not letting a 7-year-old disappear for hours on bikes with kids 3 or more years older than her is just me acting like I'm better than her. A lot of people suggested co-sleeping with the 7-year-old, so I've started doing that. It's helping a bit. She'll actually lay down now, which is progress, but she still cries a lot and tries to get up. She also holds on to me with a death grip, so I've kind of accepted that I have to go to bed when she does. It's not the worst thing. I've been using that time to look things up and read online while I wait for her to calm down. I've ordered melatonin to try for her. I share a room with the 16-year-old, and she doesn't want the 7-year-old in there, but there's nothing I can do about it until we're able to move, which won't be anytime soon. It's not the most peaceful setup, with the 7-year-old kicking me and waking up randomly to chat or cry, but we're managing to get some sleep. She used to sleep in my single bed with me from when she was 4 months old until she was around 2 years old. I didn't know anything about safe sleep at the time, and my mom had sold the crib out of spite to annoy my dad, so she literally didn't have anywhere else to sleep. I haven't told her that because I don't want her to know her mom didn't care that she didn't have a bed, but I think she remembers. She said, "We used to have sleepovers in your bed a lot, didn't we?" To make things easier for the 16-year-old, I got her some earplugs and told her she can sleep in the 7-year-old's bed in the other room if she prefers. I do my best to soothe the 7-year-old in general. She had one of her crying breakdowns last week and told me she didn't feel safe or happy. Then she said she wished I was her real mom. I told her that I am her real mom because I've looked after her for her whole life and that I'll never leave her. She seems a bit happier since then. I'm planning to get a photo of us for her to keep in the little purse she carries everywhere. She's pretty sentimental, so I know she'll love that. Yesterday, she asked if my brother and I are married, and when I said no, she said, "I just feel like you are my mom and dad." I hope that's a good thing, even if it's a little unusual. She's definitely bonding with him too, which is amazing. She always wants me to carry her around, and when I can't because I'm busy, he offers to do it, and now she lets him. She used to completely ignore him. Seeing her snuggle into his neck and actually relax makes my heart so happy. I remember wishing I had a dad who would hold me, and I'm so glad she's getting the love she needs. My brother and I have had a few disagreements over discipline. He's pretty strict, which is usually good because the kids really need structure, but sometimes I feel it's a bit much. Our biggest disagreement was when he smacked the 9-year-old, and I completely lost it. We grew up with much worse discipline, and while I've smacked them before, I don't want to continue doing that. My brother thinks one smack on the bum is fine, but I'd rather avoid it altogether. He's agreed not to do it again, and I trust him to keep his word. He wasn't angry when he did it, so I'm not overly concerned, and he apologized to the 9-year-old. We're still figuring out what works best for discipline. Our dad used an electric cord as a whip, so by comparison, one smack seems mild to us, but I've read enough to know we should avoid physical discipline entirely. The hardest thing I've had to do recently was give the youngest 2 suppositories. My sister sent me money to take them to the doctor because I was worried and didn't want to wait for kinship to go through. It turns out both of them are malnourished, underweight, and severely constipated. They've also missed some vaccines. We tried medicine, more fiber, and water for the constipation, but nothing worked, so the doctor said suppositories were necessary. It was awful, and I still feel horrible about it. The 9-year-old was a bit easier, but the 7-year-old was impossible. On the second day, my brother had to help hold her down because the doctor said either we do it or bring her in, and I didn't want to traumatize her with a trip to the clinic. Thankfully, they're both doing much better now, no tummy aches, less grouchiness, and the 7-year-old is sleeping better too. We're taking the other 3 to the doctor next week. I want them to have an in-person appointment for their first checkup, and after that, we'll do telehealth. The next thing on our list is the dentist. We've also looked into therapy and should be starting telehealth sessions soon. All 3 teenagers have said they won't do therapy, but I'll keep trying to get them to at least give it a chance. The 16-year-old is still a challenge. She took my ID and was going out whenever she wanted, but my brother grounded her, and she's actually listened and hasn't tried sneaking out again. The other 3 are doing okay. They're adapting pretty well overall. I try to talk to them about everything as much as I can, and they seem to understand what's going on. They trust that we aren't going anywhere and know we need their cooperation to get through this. My 12-year-old brother, Jay, is completely obsessed with my older brother, Matt. I used to struggle with Jay going out every evening and being out for hours, but now he just wants to be around Matt all the time. Somehow, Matt has even convinced him that doing homework together is the best thing ever. Sorry this is so long again. I don't know how long I'll keep doing these updates, but for now, everyone's advice has been so helpful that I'll keep posting. The support and suggestions from comments and private messages have genuinely changed our day-to-day lives for the better, so thank you so much, Internet strangers. Mini update, April 14th. I'm feeling like poop. Parenting is kind of hard right now. My previous posts explain everything, but the short version is that our mom left right before Christmas, and I'm now looking after my 5 younger siblings. My 16-year-old sister has been a pain in the neck the whole time. She's so unhelpful, permanently grumpy, arguing about everything, and deliberately winding up the younger ones just to be annoying. Basically, she's making my life harder every chance she gets. Today, her phone got confiscated because she was videoing our little sister having an emotional meltdown and laughing at her. Later on, while I was putting the phone away, I saw a message from our mom pop up, saying some horrible things. My mom hasn't messaged me in weeks, and the 16-year-old hasn't mentioned messaging her at all, so I was like, what is going on? It took me a few attempts to get into her phone, but I got in and saw so many messages. Most of them were her begging our mom to come home, with our mom either ignoring her or telling her to come to the city she's in right now. My sister sent her so many messages saying our younger siblings need her, and our mom replied, I think I know how to raise them better, so I'm leaving my name to it since she doesn't want me there. The most recent one was my sister asking why she doesn't care about us, and our mom basically said she has better things to do than sit here and listen to us all tell her everything she's doing wrong all the time. I knew she was having a hard time, but reading her messages to our mom has broken me. I just want to stop her from hurting so much. She basically hates me right now, so comforting her is very hard because she won't open up, not even a little bit. Whenever I try to talk to her about it, she acts like she doesn't care. I don't know what to do or say to her. Meanwhile, my older sister just calls me periodically to tell me she wishes she could help, but she can't because of a list of reasons, including, but not limited to, her not being able to face being around our youngest sister. Apparently, our parents said the youngest was her replacement, and my older sister can't get over it. Which is like, okay, but the youngest just turned 7, and my older sister is almost 25. At some point, she needs to try to get past that and realize it's not the little one's fault. My older sister is also struggling because she feels like I'm her kid, apparently. She said she wanted me to come live with her when I was younger, but I chose to stay here and let my mom get away with not parenting. But the alternative was my siblings being neglected and abused, like we were. Honestly, I don't have time to be dealing with her emotional issues on top of everyone else's. And she's whining to me, saying, oh, I had to take time off work because I'm having a hard time mentally, which makes me feel so great when I'm working my butt off to feed 5 kids, dealing with a million behavioral issues a day, and don't have time to do anything. Before everyone starts shouting therapy, yeah, it's in the works. I'm trying to get telehealth arranged, but it's taking forever. We can't afford anything else, so that's the best we have for now. Until then, it's good old-fashioned just get on with it and try not to mess the kids up any more than they already are. Update for May 20th. Another update because my inbox is still flooded, and I can't reply to everyone, so I'm just going to say it all here for you guys and anyone else who wants to know. It's been about 5 months now. Unbelievable. Firstly, thank you for all the kind messages, offers of help, and support. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sorry if I haven't replied. I've had literally hundreds of messages, and it's been kind of overwhelming for me. I've read most of them and am still trying to reply to more, but it's a big job. Currently, things are going okay. Here are the big things that have happened or are happening. My older sister is coming to visit. The relationship between her and my older brother is kind of strained because of some issues that happened when they were younger. The 3 older ones all lived together for a bit after leaving home, and honestly, I think it was just a disaster having 3 damaged teenagers living together in a new place with no support. I don't have time to mediate, so I told them that if they can't get along, my sister will need to leave. The kids don't need any more drama, and my brother needs to focus on being a parent. She says she won't cause any issues and just wants to help, so we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to stay positive, but I'm low-key dreading it. The last time I saw her was years ago, so I'm trying not to assume she'll act the same way she did as a teenager. We're planning to move to Washington. My brother is desperate to leave our town and not have to worry about our parents showing up. He gets a lot of anxiety about it and doesn't like me being at home without him here. His job will help him move over there, and he's been set on it for a while now. We've confirmed that we can transfer the kids' kinship care over there, which was my main concern. Since that's sorted, I'm on board. It won't happen anytime soon, but hopefully, by the end of the year, we can move. Financially, we're doing well. We have the kinship money, my wages, my brother's wages, and my older sisters have been sending money consistently. My brother is good with budgeting, so we've even been able to save a bit. I was able to buy the kids a small present each to cheer them up for Mother's Day. They barely have any toys, so the little ones were psyched to have something to play with. They've been acting way less feral outdoors this week. Instead, they've been playing with Lego and Barbies like normal kids, which has been amazing. The 7-year-old's sleep is improving. She sleeps really well when I give her melatonin. I don't do it every night, but when I do, it's like a mini holiday for me. Sometimes she wakes up mad, but I can handle that when I've actually slept. On nights when she doesn't take it, I either keep her downstairs and hope she falls asleep on me or my brother while watching TV, or I go through the emotional bedtime routine. That involves her crying, saying she doesn't want to go to bed, and me reading the same 3 stories until she calms down. She's doing better at school again now, which is a relief. Things were pretty bad for a while, obviously, since she was permanently exhausted and barely eating because the kid just wouldn't sleep or eat. Right now, the 9-year-old and 13-year-old are doing telehealth therapy sessions. The 7-year-old won't speak to the therapist, so she's getting indirect help through me. The 12-year-old hates therapy, so my brother is trying to learn techniques to use with him to help. The 16-year-old refuses, which I expected. I tried to force her to do it, and that didn't go well, so I'm just trying to give her indirect support. I had some one-on-one time with the 16-year-old recently, and she was different in a good way. She lets her guard down when the younger kids aren't around, like she can finally be vulnerable. She even said, "Thank you for looking after us," to me on Mother's Day. I haven't seen any more messages from our mom on the 16-year-old's phone. She's completely stopped messaging any of us. The last thing she said to me was that she doesn't know why I'm turning her kids against her. Kind of hilarious, honestly, but it just proves she's completely delusional. On Mother's Day, the 7-year-old went outside 4 times before 8 a.m. to make sure Mom isn't coming down the road. She's also been crying about our dad, but when I ask why, she just says she's worried about him. The 9-year-old gets annoyed with her and tells her to stop crying because our dad is a bad person. The 9-year-old is also very defensive of me and my brother. She tries to police the other kids, telling them to behave, be nice to us, and not argue, backchat, or misbehave. I think she's worried we'll get fed up and leave. Of course, I reassure her that we won't and that she doesn't need to tell the others off. It's kind of funny, though, because she's no angel herself. Their diet is a lot better now. We still have issues at every meal, but overall, it's improving, and they're doing well with trying new things. Years of living on ramen and chicken nuggets obviously weren't great for us. Now they all have at least 1 fruit or vegetable a day and eat proper dinners. Pasta bake has become the new ramen around here, and they love it. My brother cooks curry and tries to get them to eat it, but that doesn't go over so well. They do like it when he makes chicken and potatoes. The 7-year-old loves bluey pouches of vanilla custard and would eat those for every meal if I let her. My oldest sister is still a pain and wants to talk about our trauma constantly. She has more time to dwell on it than I do. I have no time to dwell. I asked her to please not message me unless it's positive or helpful. Her response made it clear that she's just jealous I'm giving all my time and energy to the kids. I really don't have it in me to meet an adult's emotional needs as well. She still sees me as her kid and wants to see me but doesn't want to see the younger ones. She even asked me to come visit her and leave them with my brother for a few days. That's not happening. I'm not going to leave insecure kids who are already permanently stressed that I'll leave for good. Imagine how worried they'd be the entire time. She also thinks I'm babying them, but I'm just treating them like children. Mostly, it's just annoying that she acts this way, but it's also partly upsetting. Honestly, there's nothing I'd love more than for her to meet and love the 7-year-old. For me, it would feel like my mom meeting my child. My oldest sister raised me when I was really young, and the 7-year-old is the only one of the kids I've fully raised since she was a baby, especially since our mom told me she didn't want her. Anyway, I'm trying not to get too caught up in everything with my older sister because I already have enough going on with all the kids. My grandma is still at my aunt's house and continues to be unhelpful, but at least she's not bothering me much. That's ideal. She did mention wanting my cousin to move in here because he got kicked out by his girlfriend and has nowhere to live. But absolutely not. He's a creep and a substance addict, and there's no way that's happening, not over my dead body. Okay, this has taken me like 3 days to finish writing, and I've probably forgotten some stuff, but I really just wanted to say thanks for the support. I'm not ignoring my messages, I'm just busy and overwhelmed. Update 5, May 29th. My sister, the second oldest, is here visiting. She's 23 and has been staying for a few days now. When she first arrived, we arranged for her to come in the evening, after the younger kids went to bed, since I thought it might be overwhelming. She was visibly shaking when she got here, so it was definitely the right call. The little kids would have been freaked out if they'd seen her like that. That first evening, I honestly thought it was going to be a disaster. She was a complete wreck and wasn't sure she could stay. But after getting some sleep, she was much better. She wasn't overly emotional, except when meeting the younger ones, since it had been so many years since she last saw them. Things have been surprisingly good since then, much better than I expected. I even feel a bit guilty for dreading her visit so much. She's clearly not the same as her teenage self. She's never been particularly maternal, and I used to think that was a bad thing, but it's actually worked out well. She's been connecting with the kids as a sister, not as a third parent figure, which has been great. The 16-year-old has a personality very similar to hers, so she's really enjoyed having my sister around. It's been nice for her to have another adult to talk to who isn't me or Matt. The 13-year-old has been clingy lately, but with my sister here, she's been clinging to her instead of me, which has been a relief. The 12-year-old, on the other hand, isn't thrilled about having another girl in the house and keeps saying my sister smells, it's her perfume. The 9-year-old has a million questions about why my sister is here, when she's leaving, and if she'll visit again. But when she isn't worrying, she's having fun getting my sister to try out different hairstyles on her. The 7-year-old is focused on me, though. She's been thrilled to have me to herself when the others are spending time with my sister. She even tried to get my sister to let her out of timeout, and they were best friends for about 10 minutes, until she got over being annoyed with me. I've had some alone time with my sister, which has been really nice. We've had proper conversations, and she's helped clear up some things about my dad. She definitely still has her own issues, but she's doing well for herself and seems happy. Most importantly, she's not spiraling like our oldest sister. She told me our oldest sister is carrying a lot of guilt for leaving and had expected me to move in with her when I turned 16. She's struggling because I didn't, and she can't seem to understand how I managed to stay when she couldn't. It was sad to hear, and I do plan to reach out to her again to try to help, but I need to make sure I don't end up playing therapist. Matt and my sister have been getting along fine. They're not exactly best friends, but they've put their issues aside and are okay being around each other, which wasn't the case a couple of years ago. It seems like a lot of the conflict between Matt, my oldest sister, and this sister stemmed from guilt issues. My middle sister didn't seem to have the same guilt. She's always been pretty self-centered, but honestly, that might have worked in her favor. The others resented that she appeared to be having too much fun and not caring about the rest of us. She probably didn't care much, but that might have been the healthiest approach for her. All in all, the visit is going well. I think she'll stay for the week, and I'm feeling a lot better about it than I thought I would. Some other things. My nan is still driving me up the wall constantly. She complains daily about wanting my cousin to come live here and threatens to kick us out regularly, even though she told our caseworker we could stay as long as we need. I'm trying not to waste energy getting mad at her, but my patience is running thin. It doesn't help that she's still offended I told her she's been a terrible parent and grandparent, which honestly, she has. My mom might have found my dad. I only suspect it because she's been messaging me, demanding photos of my 12-year-old brother. Most likely, she just wants to show my dad that he looks like him. She only cares about us when she can use us to make our dad love her. I told her to get lost because I'm not sending her any photos. If she doesn't already have pictures of her own child on her phone, that's her problem. Besides, she's been horrible to him his whole life anyway. With her, if our dad leaves when you're born or while she's still pregnant, you're immediately in her bad books. So, 22, me, 16, 12, and 7 have all been in the bad books practically since birth. The oldest two are also in her bad books for speaking out about his abuse and ruining her dream of having our dad at home. Apparently, my dad has other kids. I don't know how many, and I've never met them, but he's mentioned them before. I thought they might have been made up, but my sister said one of them contacted her a while ago, so they're definitely real. The 7-year-old has started calling me Mummy, and I have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, it makes me sad that she feels she has to call a 20-year-old mess like me Mummy. It's made everything feel much more real, like, I really am all these kids have now. I always knew that deep down, but I think I still felt like a temporary guardian. Now I fully realize no one else is coming to take over. At the same time, I'm happy she has someone to call Mummy. She wouldn't have that in foster care, and it would be heartbreaking if she had no one to call Mummy at her age. The 9-year-old has been upset about it, though. I think she wants to call me mummy too, but feels awkward. She's cried a few times, saying she wants me to be her mum, but she doesn't know what to do because I'm not her actual mum. I've reassured her she can call me whatever she wants, and it won't change the fact that I'll always be there for her. I'm a little worried that the 7-year-old might start calling Matt dad next. She's in a phase where she desperately wants a dad and talks about it constantly. She even asked if I was going to marry Matt so he could be her dad. She hasn't started calling him dad yet, but I can see it coming. The other kids, who hate our dad, would probably not take it well. Plus, it would feel strange for her to call us mum and dad when we're siblings. But I also don't want to tell her she can't. Matt is so good with her, she's completely smitten. I even heard him singing to her the other night, which melted my heart. With the 16-year-old, I found it easier to let Matt handle the tough parenting stuff while I try to act more like her sibling. She doesn't want me parenting her, so instead of forcing it, I stay on her side, or at least let her think I'm on her side. Of course, Matt knows I'm not really siding against him, but this approach has been working better. It's not perfect, I still get annoyed with her sometimes, especially when she interferes with my parenting the younger kids. For example, she once confiscated the 7-year-old's loavies, old muslin cloths she's very attached to, and wouldn't give them back. I had to threaten to take her phone away to get her to return them and explain that she doesn't get to confiscate anything. For the most part, though, I let Matt deal with her. He doesn't seem as bothered by the psychological games she plays, he just gets annoyed when I have an attitude with him and she overhears and copies me. It's been a lot of trial and error figuring out how to deal with everyone. For example, the 13-year-old is my shadow and doesn't react well at all to Matt disciplining her, but she's fine if I do it. The 12-year-old is a completely different story, he swings between extremes. He might tell me to get lost, but if Matt tells him off for it, he cries. He listens to me better now, but only if I grab him and make him look at me while I talk because he's an expert at tuning me out. That said, he's very affectionate when no one else is around. If Matt disciplines him, he'll come to me crying for comfort. The 9-year-old is usually a perfect angel, until she isn't. Then she'll spend 30 minutes battling with us over something as simple as brushing her teeth for no real reason. She reminds me a lot of myself as a kid. She tries so hard to keep it all together, but when she feels safe enough, she lets it all out in a meltdown. Most of the time, though, she's reasonable and pretty easy to handle, even if she has her moments of going full demon mode. For everyone messaging me about the 7-year-old possibly being autistic, she's not. I've discussed it with her doctor and therapist. What's really going on is a mix of anxiety, abandonment issues, and stress. She struggles to let herself lose control enough to fall asleep, but this only started after my mum left. Before that, she slept just fine. All of them have issues with food, likely because they grew up eating ramen for most of their lives. It's easier to get the older kids to eat better because I can explain the importance of nutrition to them, and they'll at least try. But the 7-year-old couldn't care less about nutrition. She's also super attached to me because she's afraid I'll leave. She constantly keeps tabs on me, but in theory, that should pass with time and reassurance. Matt has been amazing at not falling into the same patterns as our parents. When he gets frustrated, he walks away to avoid reacting badly to the kids. He hasn't hit anyone since we had a big argument about it, which is honestly impressive given what we grew up with. He has scars from our dad's beatings, and our mum has broken multiple bones on a few of us. Trying to parent without being physical when that's all you've known is tough, but we're making it work. I've been relaxing a bit about letting Matt actually parent without me stepping in all the time. For example, a while back, we had a horrible night with a 7-year-old. She was still screaming at around 2 a.m., and Matt came to take over because I was at my breaking point. As he picked her up, she was flipping out and accidentally headbutted him right in the face. My instincts kicked in so fast, I grabbed her off him because, if it had been my dad, she'd have been thrown across the room and ended up in the hospital. But Matt just sat on the floor holding his nose, completely silent. He didn't even seem angry. That moment really hit me. After a few more situations like that, I've started trusting him more, and I'm not so stuck in protection mode. Anyway, this turned out way longer than I planned. Once I start writing, I can't seem to stop, even though these updates take me forever to finish. Update 6, July 23rd. The 16-year-old is still up and down. Sometimes, she's so nice and easy to be around, and other times, I'm left wondering what is going on in her head. She had been doing really well with asking if she could go out and letting us know who she was with, where she was, and what she was doing. That was such good progress. Then, a couple of weeks ago, I went to check on one of the other kids around 1 a.m., and the 16-year-old wasn't in bed or anywhere else in the house. I called her 10 times and found out she had gone out. Her excuse was that we were already in bed when she got invited, so she couldn't ask. That's nonsense because she knows I wasn't asleep. I was lying with the 7-year-old and had my phone with me, so she could have texted me. It's just stupid stuff like that, where I'm like, I just need to know where you are, especially at night. She also likes to argue with me about disciplining the younger ones, which is so ironic because she thinks she can do whatever she wants and acts like I'm the worst person ever if I tell her no. But then, she'll turn around and call me a soft pushover when the younger kids are doing something they shouldn't. The 9-year-old has been terrorizing the 7-year-old, and I'm trying to handle it based on advice from the therapist and things I've read. The 16-year-old, however, likes to step in and give the 9-year-old a taste of her own medicine, which basically means she slaps her back. That completely undermines my whole goal of getting everyone to keep their hands to themselves. I can see why the 16-year-old does it. Believe me, I have to fight the urge to do the whole "you hurt her, I'll hurt you" thing with a 9-year-old, since that's how my parents were when they actually bothered to parent. But now, I spend half my time keeping the 9 and 7-year-old apart and the other half arguing with the 16-year-old about discipline. The worst thing the 9-year-old has done was hit the 7-year-old on the head with a metal water bottle. Matt was furious, well, as furious as you can be with a kid that age. She's been better since then, but still not nice. Basically, she's frustrated with the 7-year-old because they used to be best friends and play together all day, but now the 7-year-old won't play or do anything with her. The 9-year-old is also trying to discipline the 7-year-old because she doesn't like it when the 7-year-old has meltdowns or talks about our dad. The 7-year-old is basically my shadow, and because she doesn't sleep well, she's always tired, grumpy, and not much fun for the 9-year-old to be around. This makes the 9-year-old angry with her. I used to try to push the 7-year-old to play with the 9-year-old, but that always ended in tears because she'd just sit there and not join in whatever game the 9-year-old wanted to play. That would make the 9-year-old mad, and she'd lash out. So now, I'm just letting the 7-year-old be. If she's happy being my shadow, then that's fine. For context, she's so attached to me that when she wasn't in the same room as me for about 10 minutes recently, I got a little worried. I knew Matt didn't have her, so I went to find her. She was sitting on the 12-year-old's lap while he played a video game with his friend. The fact that she was interested in something other than me or Matt was such a big deal that I almost cried. As for the 9-year-old, we're trying to give her more one-on-one time because she really needs it, but it's hard to work around everything else. Matt has more time to spend with her, but she mostly wants me. I usually manage to get about 20 minutes with her in the evening, but that's it. Of course, I see her more than that throughout the day, but it's not really quality time since the other kids are around and the 7-year-old is so needy. The 13 and 12-year-olds are basically the same as always, much easier compared to the other 3. The 13-year-old has her moments of copying the 16-year-old and being a huge pain, but overall, she's good. A bit of attitude is nothing to me. Like, bring it on, I can handle that as long as she's not jumping out of her bedroom window and running around in the middle of the night. We did have an issue recently when she wanted to sleep over at a friend's house, and I said no because the dad seemed sketchy. She was furious but eventually got over it. The 12-year-old just wants his big brother's approval, so he's been good. He hasn't told me to go jump in a lake, or worse, in a long time because Matt is basically the respect police and won't let him get away with saying things like that to me anymore. Matt is handling all the moving stuff, and we're hoping to make it happen by the end of the year. I'm not very involved in the process because I'm too busy, and he knows more about it anyway. He's done all the research, and I told him to figure out work, a house, and schools, and then just fill me in. I've reduced my hours at work because it was too much, and things have been easier since. Our sister, number 2, says she might move with us, which would be amazing because having 3 adults in the house would help a lot. But we'll see if that actually works out. That's basically it. Nothing else is really happening. I haven't heard from my mom, and my nan is still living with our aunt. My oldest sister still sends money, and we talk a bit, but I told her I can't deal with constant trauma talk right now. Edit, a lot of people are messaging me about the 7-year-old's muslin cloths. Let me just say, I can't mess with the cloths. They are her lovies, and in her mind, they're not just rags, they're dolls. They have names, personalities, and faces drawn on them. If I wash them, it's like I'm drowning them. If I stuff them inside a teddy bear, I'm suffocating them. If I stitch them together, I'm stabbing them. You get the picture. Imagine them as her actual babies, and you'll understand how limited I am and what I can do with them. My goal is to get her to focus on something else, but it's hard when those rags are basically the only toys she's ever really had. Honestly, her obsession with 5 rags is one of the least of my worries. Finding them when they go missing isn't fun, but it's not a huge problem in the grand scheme of things. Mini Update 1, July 29th. Help. Is this normal? I got my first text from a kid's friend's mom today, inviting my 7-year-old to her kid's birthday party in a few weeks. This is the message. Hi Hannah. Friend and friend's sister are having a joint birthday party at our house, and, friend, would love for 7-year-old to come. It's drop off at 1 p.m. and collect at 3 p.m. Let me know if she can make it. I don't know if I like the whole drop off / pickup thing. I don't even really know these people, except to just say hi. But if that's normal, I don't want to be a freak and make it weird. My 7-year-old has literal, diagnosed separation anxiety right now anyway, so I'm not sure she would even let me leave her there. I'm stressed either way. I don't want her to miss out, but I also don't really want to leave her at someone's house for 2 hours. But I would if it turns out this is normal and I'm overreacting. Edit. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate everyone telling me I can ask the mom if I can stay without coming across as a lunatic. She was super nice about it and said, yeah, definitely. Apparently, there are a couple of parents staying, and I can stay too if I want to or if my 7-year-old wants me to. So yay, now I feel way less stressed. I haven't asked my kid yet since she was in a monster mood and would have said no to anything I asked her, but I'll find out her thoughts tomorrow. Mini update 2. August 13th. Birthday party success. Thanks for all the advice, everyone. I took my 7-year-old to her friend's party and stayed the whole time, and it was definitely the right decision. I'm so glad I messaged the mom about it and was able to figure it out. Louie came up to me a lot at the start, then mostly just kept looking at me throughout the party, but she had a great time. I loved seeing her with her friends. She's never had a party or celebrated her birthday before, so she had a lot of questions afterward. I promised her that she could have a cake and a party next year for her birthday. Getting a party bag absolutely fascinated her. She was like, whoa, she said it was kind of like her birthday because she got a cupcake and 4 little presents in the bag, stickers, a yo-yo, a small baby doll, and a coloring book. She took 2 days to eat the cupcake, and the baby doll is now named Rapunzel. She carries it everywhere. I'm so glad I asked for advice here and didn't freak out or just say no, even though the idea of leaving her was really stressing me out. Mini update 3. September 21st. My mom had another baby, another girl. I don't know why it shocked me so much because I literally think through this exact scenario in my head every day. But it still hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was on the edge of losing my mind for a couple of days. I don't even know why. I think it's a mixture of knowing that, no matter how this goes, it's going to mess me up, and also just being generally angry at my mom for how irresponsible she is. If we take her, I'll be raising a newborn from scratch all over again. If we don't take her, I know I'll torture myself for the rest of my life, wondering if she's okay and feeling guilty. At first, we were just going to say no, that we couldn't take her, and have her go straight to foster care or adoption. But now she's in the hospital with meningitis, so after days of stressing out and talking everything through, I'm traveling down there to be with her because I can't deal with the idea of her being alone. I was going crazy. Information has been really patchy, but last I heard, they think my mom got pregnant in late January because the baby is premature. I had suspected something when she left at Christmas. I figured she might have found out where our dad was. She must have been with him for I don't know how long. I doubt she's still with him because she usually plays happy families with a new baby if my dad is still around when the baby is born. My mom carries strep B, so it's not the first time she's had a newborn with serious health issues from that. We don't even know what day the baby was born on. I'm so mad at her for not telling me she was pregnant or coming home to have the baby. If she had told me, I would have made sure she got proper medical care, and everything would be okay. I'll know more once I get there. But it sounds like my mom didn't have the baby in a hospital, which, again, isn't the first time she's done that. I've had to leave Matt with the kids and just hope things will be okay. He says he's got it, but I don't know. Obviously, me leaving didn't go down well with my 7-year-old. My 16-year-old, though, is like a completely new person since we found out, suddenly super helpful. Now that I've gone, she keeps messaging me that things are fine at home and that she wants me to bring the baby home with me. She's the only kid who knows about the baby. The others just think I'm helping our sister with something. I just don't know what to do. Imagining letting her go live with strangers sends me into literal blind panic. I've been in foster care, and it was horrible. I know it's different for babies, but how can I risk her going to live with people who might not love her? I know I will love her, and she'll be okay with us. But then, part of me wonders, can I realistically have another kid at home? What if she gets adopted by amazing people and has an incredible life? I don't know what to do. The caseworker says staying with family is the priority and that it would most likely be possible for us to have her if we want her. But I don't want to say yes, bring her home, have everything happen, and then realize, oh my god, I can't do this. A baby is a lot, and it's so different from school-aged kids. But I've done it before. I was only 13 last time I was doing night feeds, so surely at 20, I can manage. My 7-year-old is finally mostly sleeping in her own bed, and I've actually been sleeping at last. But then I feel like an idiot thinking about giving this human child away just so I can get a bit more sleep. That's crazy. Matt is saying we could bring her home and see how it goes as a temporary thing. But I don't want to approach it like that. You don't just bring a baby home like a pet cat or fish. I need to be certain it's the right choice. I'll get so attached, and so will she. That's not fair, because if it turns out it's impossible to manage this many kids, then what do we do? I mean, I guess nothing is truly impossible. But the thought of giving her to random people is unbearable. I know that for years, all of us will be together, and my mind will constantly be racing. How's the baby? Where is she right now? What if she's lonely? What if no one loves her? What if she's hungry? I'd be torturing myself forever. I don't know how people give a kid away. She's not even my child, and I'm still like, no, you're part of me. I need to keep you with me. But what if I can't? Financially, we'll be okay. Kinship support is decent, and between us, we can make enough money to manage. When we move, hopefully before Christmas, there will be 3 adults in the house since our older sister is moving in with us. Plus, by the end of February, all the kids will have had their birthdays, so they'll be 14, 13, 10, and 8, just getting more independent. And then bam, a newborn. I don't know what to do. My oldest sister is firmly against it, saying, you need to get her adopted. Everyone else wants to try to keep her. I just want a crystal ball to see how things turn out either way and decide, because the thought of regretting this choice for the rest of my life is stressing me out so much. I'm not really looking for advice because I don't want the life of a literal baby being decided by Reddit. That just feels messed up. I want it to be the right choice for us, something we've decided with the caseworkers. I'm just rambling because it's an 8-hour journey, and I need to stop spamming Matt and my sisters with my constant thoughts. But yeah, to everyone who kept messaging me saying my mom would have another baby, you called it, I guess. Mini update for September 28th. Baby update. The baby is doing well, especially since she is a preemie. My older brother, Matt, and I will have temporary custody of the baby until things have been sorted out and hopefully for the baby to be home once she is discharged from the hospital. I was informed that no one knows where my mom is, and she might have left the city. Mini update 5. September 29th. Hey, so everyone has been messaging me, offering us money or gifts and stuff since my first post, but it's a lot more at the moment because of the baby. I don't want to keep replying with the same thing, so I'll just say it here instead. We're really doing okay. I don't know if most of you are from the USA, but here in Australia, we get good money for kinship care, like more money than we've ever had before by a long way. We also get discounts on some stuff. I know how to feed 5 kids on very little money, and I'm still in that habit, so the money we get now covers what we need and more. Matt and I both have jobs, and our older sisters give us money as well when they can. Matt has literally been saving some money for when we move and for emergencies because he can. I'm not saying we're going on holidays and buying anything we want, but we have enough to get by and we'll be able to give the kids an actual Christmas this year. They can probably count on one hand all the presents they've had until now. Birthdays didn't exist in our family before, so if we get them a cake and a couple of gifts, they'll be amazed. I bought myself some clothes recently, and it felt crazy to me to get new stuff and not have to think it's either clothes or food or something else. I could just buy them because I wanted to, and it was okay. So yeah, I don't want them to get an avalanche of presents and end up not caring as much about what they do have. Honestly, I can't imagine having an Amazon wish list and things just showing up at our house. They would probably all have heart attacks. As for the baby stuff, Matt has posted in some Facebook groups, and people have been offering things we need for free or cheap. He has already arranged for us to have most of the big things we need, and the money we get for her from the government will pay for some of the rest of it. I appreciate the offers so much, but I wouldn't feel right taking them when we're able to save some money at the moment, which is honestly crazy to me. I know so many people who can't save $10 a week if they wanted to. So, if you're offering stuff to us, please give it to another family who probably needs it more. We used to struggle so much, and there are still so many people in that situation. I guess most people would still say we're poor or whatever, but we used to be way worse than poor. We don't share instant noodles for dinner anymore, so we're good. Sorry for rambling again, and thanks to everyone for being so kind and helpful. Update 7. November 14th. I never know how to start these, lol. Hi. I know people want to know about the baby, so here's an update. She is doing well, and we finally got her home. That was a mission, for real, and the weirdest combo of stress and relief when we finally managed it. As far as babies go, I would say she's on the easier side. At the moment, she sleeps a ton, and I literally have to wake her up to feed her. Even then, she falls asleep halfway through a bottle. My life legitimately revolves around bottles, cleaning bottles, sterilizing bottles, making bottles, logging how much she drank, tracking how long until the bottles expire, and getting confused about which bottle is which. Then I remake them because I'm paranoid I'll give her an expired one. It never ends. It's so funny that there's this whole debate about how bottle feeding is lazy or the easy way out, because I swear, I wish I had given birth to this kid just so I could feed her from my breasts and be done with it. Dealing with bottles is so time-consuming. But honestly, the baby herself isn't a huge deal. It's the addition of the baby to the existing chaos that's kind of overwhelming because all the kids already have such different needs. I thought the 7 to 13 age gap was huge and a pain to manage, but now it's like, let's entertain everyone and remember the feeding schedule of an infant. On the upside, I don't have to do many diaper changes right now because all the kids want to help with the baby all the time. As soon as I say she needs to be changed, they're all fighting over whose turn it is, which is hilarious. I hope that lasts. I don't really want to talk about my mom, except to say the baby is a full sibling, so she is my dad's. I already knew that, but we got a DNA test done to confirm, as people have asked. I had a conversation with my mom that I honestly want to erase from my brain because it was so bad, but I can't. At this point, I'm just hoping she gets locked up because I'm so done. It doesn't seem like any effort is being made to actually find her. It's like they don't care, and they'll only do something if she walks into the station and says, "Hey, arrest me." Obviously, I'm sleep deprived, which is actually more from the 7-year-old than from the baby, and I'm stressed out, but I was already both of those things before, so it doesn't feel that different right now. I'm just more sleep deprived and more stressed. But okay, what else is new? I just have a tiny baby monkey asleep somewhere near me at all times. The kids are doing well. We've had a couple of jealousy issues with the younger ones, but mostly they've been great. I'm not expecting that to last once the novelty of the baby wears off. The 7-year-old is up and down about how happy she is sharing me, but it hasn't been too bad because there are enough people around that someone can usually hold the baby while I focus on her, the 9-year-old, or whoever. I've given up trying to get them to be quiet around the baby because they won't, and so far, she sleeps through everything anyway. The 17-year-old had her birthday, which was the first birthday we've properly celebrated ever. I can't wait for the others to have their birthdays now. She has been amazing. I'm like, who are you? Compared to the total pain she was before, she's been so good. She helps me out a lot, even though I tell her she doesn't have to. I won't go into it all here because it's her private business, not mine to share, but she's had some huge breakthroughs with therapy. Since the baby, she seems to have realized our mom is beyond saving, and she's shifted her anger off me and onto her. She's in full protective mode over the baby, which is crazy to see because she normally couldn't care less about the younger kids. That's not to say everything is perfect. We still have some issues, but she is so helpful and thoughtful right now. I think maybe we'll end up being friends. My oldest sister, not so much. She has pissed me off because she's so against me taking the baby and keeps ranting about how I'm an enabler and need more therapy. She says I can't keep cleaning up our mom's mess. Okay, I guess she hasn't noticed that our mom couldn't care less. If she wants to have 10 more babies, she will, whether I take this one or not. I could send the baby to outer space, and my mom still wouldn't care. She'd have another one if she thought it would get my dad's attention. And yeah, I'm not here for her calling the baby it and acting like I should just give her away like she's an unwanted toy or something. So I'm not speaking to her right now. It makes me upset because I love her, but I can't mentally deal with her if she's going to be like that. I had to name the baby, so I gave her the name I've always wanted to call my own child. Who knows if I'll ever have one, and I thought it would help me bond with her since I have an emotional attachment to that name. I've loved it forever. But I can't stop calling her the baby because she doesn't seem to suit having an actual name yet. She's just too little, I guess. I'm trying to ease into calling her by her name by using a nickname, but I literally sit there in the middle of the night talking to her, trying to use her name, and just end up being like, nope, you're just a baby. I'm rambling again, so I'll wrap this up because I don't know who has time to read this stuff. We're all set to move as well, though it's happening a bit later than planned. Whatever. Matt flew over for a few days to sort out the house, and my older sister is going to go a week before we move to get everything fully ready, which is definitely needed now that we have a baby. She's complicated things a lot, but we're figuring it out. It's costing a fortune to move, but once it's done, I think everything will be so much better. We won't have to deal with our nan anymore, it'll be less cramped, and my sister will be living with us. That means we'll have 3 adults and the new and improved version of the 17-year-old, which is basically 3.5 adults against 2 teenagers, 2 kids, and a newborn. That doesn't seem so bad. Wait for me to take that back, but I hope it will feel easier. Plus, our parents won't know where we are, so Matt will finally calm down and stop having daily heart attacks about the kids being here, there, and everywhere around town, or me being home alone, or whatever. That's all I can be bothered to write for now. And again, I've written this in 3 different sittings this week, so if it doesn't make sense, please excuse my tired, rambling brain. Relevant comments. Op on if her mom might or might not have more babies. Op shares her eldest sister's thoughts regarding their siblings and the baby. Yeah, I'm praying this is the last one. Matt said the other day how many kids there would be if my dad had been around since I was 7 years old. Crazy to think about, but yeah, there would for sure be 3 or 4 more of them. Thanks. She's pretty messed up right now, and honestly, it's more that she doesn't want to be around us. Or she wants to be around some of us but not others. She'd like to see me and the 17-year-old because she raised us. She has issues with the 13-year-old because my mom actually liked her when she was little. The 12-year-old triggers her because my mom abused him so badly, and I was the one protecting him. By then, my oldest sister was so over it that she didn't get as involved, so she has guilt issues. The 9-year-old she doesn't really know, and my mom was actually taking care of her as a baby, so my big sister didn't have to do anything for her. And the 7-year-old, she has huge issues with because they basically have the same name, and the 7-year-old was her replacement. Our parents made a huge deal about this, like literally said, "You're dead to us, and the baby is the new you." My mom was going to name her the exact same name. So yeah, she doesn't want anything to do with the kids. I think the issue about the new baby is that she wants me to be free and to go live with her, which obviously isn't happening anyway, but it's super not happening now. I'm legit praying she doesn't start talking to the 17-year-old and trying to get her to go live with her instead. Op on the baby and if she's going to be fine or face health issues while growing up. As far as we know, yes. She's small, obviously premature. My mom always has premature babies. Still in newborn sizes right now. We'll see if any issues come up. Obviously, it's kind of early to know exactly if everything is really okay, and the meningitis was the main concern, but she has fully recovered from that. I asked my mom if she did any substances. George drank a lot, and she basically told me it's none of my business but then said she should have because it would make my life harder if the baby was, as she put it, the R word. So that makes me think she didn't, or at least not much. I don't know, but it's something at least. Update 8, December 8th. Little update because I'm double nap trapped. Is it still a nap if it's 11 p.m.? I don't know, but neither of them are out for the night, so I guess it is, by the baby and 7-year-old, and I'm angry, so I want to type. I'm kind of drowning right now, but not even because of the kids. It's because of all the adults who seem determined to make my life harder. My oldest sister is so unbelievably annoying, literally, just give it a rest. I don't care what she thinks. My nan is raging about so many things that I told her to write a list and drop it off at this point. She's mad about my older sister, sister number 2, being in her house, saying she ruined your mom's life, which is so delusional I can't even believe she said it. She's also raging that I'm taking her grandkids away from their roots and family. It's so ridiculous because she hasn't even tried to see them in months. And there's a whole bunch of other nonsense I'm too pissed off to even write down. On top of that, my aunt and uncle have chosen now of all times to demand that my nan move back in with us. I told them absolutely not. We are moving this week, and I'm not about to shuffle the kids around to make space for her. They have a spare room and can keep her there for literally a few more days until we're gone. Then my uncle starts threatening me, saying I'm being ungrateful and a brat, blah blah blah. Like, be for real. I don't need to be grateful to you for letting our nan live there when she chose to move out. It's not like I even suggested it, she just didn't like that I was telling the kids to listen to me and not her. Not like I wanted to be the one doing everything, but she couldn't be trusted to take care of a cat, let alone actual kids. Take my mum as the prime example of what my nan creates. I told my aunt and uncle they can shut up and keep her until we leave, and then preferably never speak to me again. I'm so done. So over it. So ready to get out of here. Then, my oldest sister called my 17-year-old crying, because I had her blocked. Of course, I took the phone, and she starts going on about her problems. I told her I'm too stressed to deal with her right now, and she's all, "I told you so. You shouldn't have taken the baby." Like, excuse me? This baby just sleeps. She's fine. I'm stressed because of a bunch of adults who can't act like adults or understand any perspective other than their own. I know why my sister doesn't want me to have the baby, but she keeps repeating herself. I have to talk to her like she's a little kid. I'm listening to you. I heard you, and I'm taking it on board. I just don't agree with you. Nothing else needs to be said. Originally, I told her she was welcome to come to WA with us because I knew all of us being together was upsetting her. I didn't want her to feel unwelcome. But now, I've taken that back because I can't think of anything worse than her being around the kids. Anyway, then there's the actual stress, like moving across the country and packing up everything for this many people. Honestly, it's a good time to be poor with not many belongings. I don't know how people do this when they have tons of stuff. The 7-year-old is freaking out because one of her lovies is missing, and she refuses to move without it. I don't know if I've mentioned the lovies here before, probably have. To be honest, they're the bane of my existence, but they're a bunch of old muslin cloths she's very attached to. She thinks of them as her dolls, and her favorite thing to do is make them have a tea party. It's literally just a bunch of rags in a circle around an empty can of Sprite. Some of them are literally falling apart, but she loves them so much. So, whatever, if a rag makes her happy, that's cool, but having to look for them all the time is not fun. Before anyone says to get her some actual dolls, I have, but I guess they don't hit the same. So yeah, finding that rag is way higher on my priority list than it really should be. On the subject of losing things, the 17-year-old lost her mind the other day, and we almost had a fist fight. I was on edge from all the other stress, and she was screaming at me and my older sister, number 2. I was so done, I actually lost it, which I usually don't do. She ended up yelling, "Are you gonna hit me?" And I was almost like, "Yes, let's go." But I held on to my last shred of restraint. My other sister got involved, which ended with the 17-year-old crying. Then, I had to comfort her because my older sister is so unmaternal it's unreal. She just shrugged and was like, "Well, if you didn't act like an idiot, I wouldn't have yelled at you." Anyway, we're over it now. I apologized, she apologized, we understand each other, and we're moving on. She's stressed about moving, I'm stressed about literally everything, so whatever, it was bound to happen. My older sister, number 2, is already at the new house getting it ready because we didn't want to show up with all these kids and nothing prepared. Matt is being a stress head as well, which is super fun because now I don't even have his calm energy to keep me from losing it. I just keep telling myself it'll all be over in a few days and taking it 1 hour at a time. The rest of the kids are fine. I've had some kind of issue with every single one of them in the last couple of weeks, but I expected that because it's Christmas time and we're moving them away from their friends, their school, and their house. So, they're a bit on edge. But honestly, they're doing well considering everything. Like I said, they're not my biggest problem right now. The baby is just being a baby. She's pretty happy, I think, and honestly, I'm jealous of her. She just sits there with zero clue about what's going on. While packing up, I found some old baby clothes and got totally triggered because I'm pretty sure some of them had blood stains, which brought up a lot of feelings. I had a full-on mental breakdown while everyone was asleep. Then the baby woke up, bringing me back to reality, and, not to get emotional, but I'm so grateful for her. Just sitting there with her makes me think about how much better things are now and how she'll never know any of this mess. I'm so glad she's not with my mom right now and will hopefully never have to see her. This little update turned into a big one as usual. Sorry, I can't stop once I get going. But yeah, that's where we are right now. Pray for me while flying with all these little ones, it's everyone's first ever flight, and for getting them settled into a whole new life. We're hoping it'll actually be better and worth the hell of moving. Top comment. Commenter, oof, Han, just wanted to tell you that you are so strong. It really sucks that the adults in your life are being so selfish. Is shutting them out completely an option? They sound like such a hindrance. I hope you have access to professional help, like a therapist, to talk to and release some of your mental load. You're doing it tough, but you are truly amazing and doing the right thing for your family. All the best with the move. Focus only on what you think is best for your immediate family, and try to ignore the outside negativity if you can.